12th grade, 2 months after World War II started. I left high school and came up to a place called Starkville, and to a university up here they called many things, but I became a student, and I was 16 years old. I graduated from high school when I was 16. And I stayed here at the university for a calendar year, and I took double things that I could take, as much as heavy as I could take it, a lot of math. And I had almost enough credits to bypass sophomore year when I spent a calendar year here at Mississippi State. When I got past my 17th birthday, I packed my clothes and I went home and told my dad and mama that I wanted to join the United States Air Force as a combat soldier. Well, that upset them no way you could tell, but that's what I wanted to do. And you had to take examinations, and I took the examination not to be a pilot, but to be a navigator. I passed all the tests, and they were going to send me to navigational school, and they ascertained that they were not open, and would not be open for 6 months. Well, I wanted action. They said, well, you've got to be a gunner. We'll send you down to Texas, and you go to the gunnery school and pass all those things, and we'll look at you as soon as you get through. But I did that, and I passed all those things. I was not secret to shotguns and ammunition. I had a fine bird dog at home. Out in the country where I lived, there was plenty of birds to hunt, and my dog was probably one of the best smellers in the county. And that's what I did in my spare time. I knew everything about the guns. But the last thing we had to do, and it was a little difficult, we had to take one of those 55 caliber machine guns that you use on airplanes. You had to become put stuff over your eyes so you couldn't see, and you had to disembark a 55 caliber machine gun and put it back all in 5 minutes. That was tough. But I did it and passed it and came out, and as soon as I came out, we started having some severe losses over in the European theater. So there was no opening still in the navigation school. So the Air Force asked me said we're forming some boys to go over to the seas, and said you are marking up a turret gunner, and said you qualify for everything. He said if you want to go get on a crew, we'll send you. And that's what I did. I got on a crew, and I probably was just real lucky. I was assigned to a crew of 8, not 10, but myself it'd be 9. There were 9 of us. And my pilot was his son, Robert A. Combs. And he was the son, his mom and daddy didn't have but one child, and he was it. And he was raised, when he came up, he didn't care about going with girls. He didn't care about doing anything in the world but flying an airplane. And he was he had his privileges, all of them, time he was 14 years old. So when he got out of high school, they sent him to the West Coast through one of the best aeronautical schools that's out there. And he finished that before he ever went into the Air Force and became a pilot. And he never did want to fly little small planes, fighters. He wanted to fly the big ones. So I met him up in Nebraska. We formed a crew, went to Pueblo, Colorado, and did the final things that we had to do to go. And they gave us and another couple. When you fly missions overseas, you fly one mission on and one off, and you have another crew that takes it the next day, and you swap it. So when you take it overseas, the same thing. Well, we flipped to see who was going to take the plane overseas, and like my where it always happens, we lost. We had to take the ship overseas. So they took us overseas, and we all met over in the camp. And started flying our missions. Now, we had flown in B-24, but I had never been on a B-24 until I got in one to do my work down in Texas. But to give you a little background, if you don't know what a B-24 looks like, do you have anything I could spread sometime that they could see? B-24 is a 4-engine aircraft with 4 engines and 2 tails. It followed the B-17, which was an older plane, but could not carry near the bomb load that we could carry. B-24 was built primarily to carry bombs. RDX,
big one.
500-pound bomb.
There's the lectern that they sign in. I can bring that in here.
He's gonna get the big
Carry that
time.
on every mission. We fly at 300 miles per hour. It would fly as high as 30,000 feet, and we would bomb overseas. We would bomb about 22,000 feet. And why do I tell you that? Because at 22,000 feet, you're on oxygen. And if you're not on oxygen for 4 minutes, and you reach 22,000 feet, they'll take you to the year's coffin. You won't live. And the temperature at 22,000 feet is 50 below zero. And that's how you bombed overseas back then. And we wore electric suits. And that's what we wore. And we bombed from that height. On the other side, we were fighting Germans, of course. They had radar machine guns on the ground. They could put that frack right up in your face. And that's why we were losing so many planes. The truth about the matter is we were losing about 4 out of 5 men overseas. And the Army Air Force, at least over in the German theater or the European theater, suffered the highest casualty of losses of any entity in World War II. A lot of people don't know that. And we lost a little more than 1.5 persons for 35 missions. You had 35 missions, and it was only 1.5 out of the 35 that would come home. We lost a lot of men, and we didn't with other crews much. And somebody said, well, why? I said, well, we didn't want to know another crew. If you don't know somebody and they go down, it doesn't bother you as much as it is buddy. And we had a crew of young men. When I went overseas, when I departed and went overseas, I was 18 years old. And that's where I flew my mission to age 18 and turned 19 over there. But some people say it's mighty young. I said, well, our pilot was 22 years old. And he was the oldest person on that plane as far as I know. But he was some kind of pilot. He had flown everything and he knew everything about the plane. And he wouldn't take anybody up in one unless it was really kept in good shape. That was R.A. Combs. We flew tail end gunner for the first month and a half. And when I flew tail end gunner, when you fly to the target, you're from a squadron. I was in the 742nd Squadron of the 455th Air Group of the 15th Air Force. Now, you fly, it's 7 planes go up, and every day it goes up the bump. And you'll have 2 out here on the front, you'll have 2 behind that, and you'll have a drop float down there, and the other's tailing in behind, and a tailing in Charlie right there. You have 7 go. So that's the way you take off your hat off for you gone. We were buying targets, hitting targets all of Southern Europe where they were making petrol, the guns and ammunition, particularly. We would bomb. That's the plants we were bombing over there. And someone said, well, what was the worst mission that you saw, John? I said, well, I didn't see the worst mission in the squadron. I said, I think our group of 7 supplanted a group who was shot down. And I said, this happened in 44, and all 7 planes were sent up to Moose Bill Bomb, and it was an ammunition plant, and the Germans had a way of taking their Hawkwooks and their 409s and putting them all at one place so they could find out where we were bombing at the time. And they'd do that religiously. And so, anyhow, the crew went up there to another one, and we were not there at that time. But they went to Moose Bill Bomb, and they were 409s and all were waiting on them. And that afternoon, they didn't give one plane back. And that plane finally came in, and it was shot all to pieces. And as I recall, the captain and the co-pilot were not able to fly that plane. They were hit with flak. And so the engineer on that plane just happened to have enough flak on planes that he could fly that aircraft, and he got the pilot out of the seat, got in the seat, and flew that aircraft home. He was the only one to get back. But I know for a fact that that plane was never flown again. It was not worth it. That's what you had now. You want to know about World War II. A lot of people don't want to hear about World War II, really. few pictures that been taken along the way, and might be able to help you. I'm gonna let you, so y'all can come by and see them, and let you see what flack looks like when you go in on it. This is us going in on I believe it's Lynn's Austria Venice, I'm not sure which one to be talking. But if you see the little spots up here,
Yes, sir.
that's the flag. And this shows the plane, there. And I'll turn this around so y'all wanna come up and see. And you'll see. And, this is something that, I made when I gave my address to the Rotary Club. And it just tells you a little bit about World War II that I have to. And that is that more than 18,500 planes of B-24 were constructed and used. It's more than any other aircraft. We did more missions, more targets destroyed, more bombs dropped than any other aircraft in World War II. And we were flying out of Poland, Italy, down here. And we were going all the way up into southern Germany and Austria and hidden. We were shot down one time by Vienna, Austria, and crash landed over in Romania. And partisans over there, I don't really remember about partisans or not, but they were people in Romania that didn't stop fighting after the war was over. They formed out there a little old space where an aircraft that was in bad shape could land. And they had a landing strip. And we were shot up over the fence, but we just happened to find that airstrip and crash landed in that strip. And fortunately, they had a radio there, and they radioed the big fence, which was our rescue people. And they couldn't come up. They said, "Good Lord, they can't come in there today." Said, "Y'all are 5 miles behind German lines." Said, "But you get them to put the torches out on the strip that you got, and we'll get a C-47 in there tonight at 10 o'clock sharp." Said, "It won't be with just that one thing you'll hear tonight from us at 10 o'clock sharp." Said, "Don't pay attention to anything else." So our crew sat there and waited, and at 10 o'clock, sure enough, I heard that plane coming in. And if we could've gotten up to the top, I would've kissed him probably. He came in and he didn't get it on that strip good before we all piled on, and he got us out of there and got us back to our squadron, and I was thankful to goodness for that. But this is one thing, this is our Curtiss wing that they had on the B-24, and that's different from any other aircraft before. Now what that did, it gave it a lot of speed. It gave the plane a lot of speed, but it cut down on what the plane could do in case it lost its engines. It would drop. B-17, they could cut out their engines and they could float across the channel, getting back to England. But they said B-24, I don't know this is what they said. They said the lower inertia would carry you forward about 6,000 feet, then you'd make a 90-degree arc with the ground. But the B-24 was built for one reason, and that is to carry the bomb. And we carried those. So that's what, now this is what we look like. 22 to 22,000 feet. You'll see we had all that stuff on it. And that's the technology as we do it. We had the Northern bomb sight, if you all recall. And we had the P-51 Mustang that's with us over there that went fought fighters off of it, we didn't have that many, and they couldn't go to the target, they didn't have enough gas. We had a photographer on the plane, and we took a lot of pictures when we were over there. If you don't know what these pictures look like, I think you'll find them over the library, because I know I gave a talk over there, and I left a lot of these videos, the planes that were shot right up over there. And usually people like one, and this is what one in flight looks like. My position was right on top of the plane. I was the wide upper turret of the plane. And it showed. And now that's 4 of us with kids just having a lot of fun on the ground. We had a little take a picture of it. We did like a bunch of moms, I know that.
Which one is it?
That's me on the end there. That's me when I was 18 years old.
How old were you?
18. That's it.
And
Wow.
this is another picture of me out below our plane, just standing out there in the old clothes. I believe this was a picture that was taken of me on the ground. And this is how our plane would come in, so, man, you'll see it there.
Safe but not soft.
He got in, we brought him in. This bringing POWs home is a story. There was a Romanian king in the king family. He was not king, but he was in the king family. And when the Russians started, and he, as a Romanian, he stayed with the Germans in their Air Force when they took Romania, and they put him in charge of a 409 fighter plane, and he actually shot down some of the planes that were going to and from the bombing range. But we had a colonel who flew in one of the Pro-Escalades and was shot down, and he was imprisoned in the Bucharest place there, prison, with other Air Force men who had been over Pro-Escalade. And they had a lot of them. So when the Russians came in from the other side and started getting close, he went to see Colonel John in the prison, and he told him, he said, this is on the quiet side, but said the Romanians are gonna be in here next week, I'm pretty sure. And he said, I wanna make a deal with the Americans. He said, if you will get in my 409 and down on the right side there's a hole where you put somebody if you wanted to, and if you get in that hole, I'll crank that plane up and we'll drive over to Italy and land on the San Giovanni airstrip over there. That's our airstrip that we flew over. And said, we'll land, and then you're gonna take me to see your admiral over there. You're not admiral, you're gonna see the general over there and see if he will give me, take my family. Because if the Romanians come in, if the Russians get in here and they get me and my family, they're gonna kill us to do the next thing to kill us. So that's gonna happen to me, because I went with the Germans. And he said, I wanna make a deal. He said, and and I get every one of those boys out of the, prisons over there. All I ask you to do is send the planes over there to put them in and bring them home. So, we took him in, and he came across and, with, the colonel, and kind of took him to our general, and they made a deal. And they told him, said, you get those boys out now. Says, I'm gonna take 50 B-17s, and says, I'm gonna take the Bombays out, and I'm gonna put some temporary chairs in there. And said, we're gonna have 50 of them, and might make 2 or 3 trips. And, so that's what they did, and they brought them in at San Giovanni, Astro. And they brought in, they got loose and brought in 1,461 of our boys that were incarcerated over there. They weren't all airmen, they were everywhere. They were Army and everything else. But that's how many they had in prison. And we got them out of Bucharest and Budapest, got them over. And all they did is they sent them over and got them deloused and all those things, and sent those boys home, put them on ships. Now that's part of war. You want to know something about war. That's part of what we did over there. I have a little thing on that about bringing the prisoners home. This other thing, just the pictures here, when my colonel finished his last mission, took a picture of him when he came back off his last mission. We had little stoves in our tents. We lived in tents. We had little old stoves in there, and it was cool at that time. And so we had all those places lit up, you see, with corn. He brought his plane in and pulled that thing down and went through it. He put every coal in that house out. But he was ready to come home. And so I grabbed the camera and went out there and took his picture doing that. The Phantom plane is another thing that happened to us, and it happened to Tico, which is this boy right here. And I'm telling you now about these boys, and you can forget them. There were 9 on my plane, and we all got home, every one of them. But as of now, I'm the only living survivor that went over there. The rest of them have passed on and gone on to get to Florida. And of course, what I've got is my 18-year-old members of all of it. The Phantom plane tickled on one of my planes to Linz, Austria, which was a hot place to go. We kept seeing this plane way behind us, and he wouldn't come up with us, and he wasn't in our group, 7, and we stayed in a 7 group pretty well till we got in close to the target. So Tickle got on the phone. He called the lieutenant and told him, said, we got somebody back there following us or something. Said it's a big four-engine plane, and said it looked like a B-24. Said, but I don't see any insignia. It's too far away for me to tell. But said, if you could, said, can you get somebody to go up and check him? Well, on that particular place at that particular time, the Tuskegee Airmen were flying there with us that day, and maybe some of you don't know what the Tuskegee Airmen, they were the group of people that Roosevelt set it up for, because they were left out and were not permitted to fly, but he made flies out of them. And there was an entirely black group that was in World War II, and they served as part of my group over there. They were really good. They were really good. I could tell you a few things about it, but when you are shot up over a target and you're sitting up there 10 to 15,000 feet, you're losing a little air all the time, and you're hoping you got enough to get back home. You already lost your squadron because you couldn't keep up with them, and you got to go over about 3 or 4 air bases. You can imagine where your heart is at about that time, up in your throat. And so that's when you try to find the Tuskegee Airmen or whoever can help you get back. And I remember on one occasion, Lieutenant gave me told me I was in the Martin up there right above. He said, "Would you try to see if you can get Big Fence on the line and get somebody to tell us where we are and what we can do?" And said, "See if you can't get the Tuskegee Airmen." I forgot now what it is we can do, because I kept calling and calling, but finally I was about to give up. This voice came through, said, and then they were making the southern talk, and none of them were anywhere near the Mason-Dixon line down here. And I could tell they were Mason. This voice came through and said, I say down there, what do y'all want? And I said, we want some help. And he said, well, I said, look up over you fellas, just look up here. And I looked up there, and when I did, I saw 4 of the planes of the Tuskegee Airmen, and they were doing figure 8s up there, about 3,000 feet above us. And his voice came on, he said, we up there, fella right above you. Said, we gonna see you, we gonna take you all the way home. I've said many times, if I could have got close to him, I'd have kissed him, but he took us home. And that's things, you know, that you don't ever forget. But this Phantom plane that Tika was talking about, they went in and called him out, you know, said, hey, who are you? But he answered in perfect English, and he told them what group he was with, squadron he was with. He got all the way through. One of them said, well, if you answer pretty clear, but we don't even have an outfit like that. Said, you don't own that plane and you're not entitled to it. And if you turn loose any gun over there, we got all of them trained on you, big boy. And he said, we want you to turn that plane around right now, and we're gonna take you all the way back to our base. And if you don't do it right now, we're gonna just shoot you down and leave you. But he turned it around, and last we saw, he was headed south. So as far as I know, he did it. It was written up in Starkville over there about such a thing happening. But we just marked it down. Just one of the things that you see in war. I probably have talked too long for y'all, and there are many other things I could tell you. We made our missions. We got back home, and as soon as I got back home, I immediately made arrangements to go directly in. I was 19 years old, but at that time, they made a deal universities, that if a person would go into the medical school, had enough credits to go into medical school or the law school, and had a B+ average, that they would permit them to go into either one of those schools on a GI Bill and complete and get a doctorate degree in 3 years. They had to have the same number of time in service, which I had. And I had B+ averages, and by going to Mississippi State up here, I had the credits. So I went directly into law school, went to 3-year period, and got my doctorate degree when I was 23 years old. That's my background. I started from there. And I've been very fortunate. For 47 years, I've had one of the best wives a person could have. I'll tell you that right now. I've had one of the sweetest and finest girls the Lord ever put down here. And she and I have one time. We've been everywhere. And we followed the dogs everywhere they've gone. And somebody asked me why I like the dog. I said, well, number one, my daddy finished not this named school, but this daddy went to the school that formed this school over 100 years ago. And I was privileged to go to it when I was 16 and got my basics here. And people up here have been real good to me, and I've enjoyed every minute of it. I wouldn't trade Mississippi State. When they played up here about 2 years ago in the big baseball games at Omaha, that girl back there, she and I went up there. We saw 12 games up there. 12 games. We didn't wait till they won 2 or 3 games. We were up there when they played the first game. And we sat through every one of them. Some of them would stay up at 3 o'clock in the morning. That sort of thing. But we got stuff up here, and you got my kind of people. I like the people up here. And because they're good, they're solid people. That's not always true down in the Delta. My daddy could tell you a little bit about that. I grew up out in the country. I had Sunnyside. I remember we had a country, it was a general merchandise store out in the country. And there was only one there, at a little place called Sunnyside. And so that's about as fine a group of people out there as you'd ever know. But I know that R.T. Wade, who lived down below us, came by the store one day. He said, he called my daddy because his father died. He didn't have a daddy, so he called my father daddy. So he said, Daddy, said, you should have been down here at the club last night. Said, you should have been here. Said, you missed it all. Said, they had a great big time down there last night. My daddy never looked up. He just, R.T., that's just some rednecks that have a little money. That's just about it. But the people up here, what you see is what you get. And I think that's true in life itself, what you see. And the young man here getting his Eagle Scout, that's a movement. I didn't make my Eagle Scout. I left 14 miles, which they don't require now, but they did then. I did serve as the head of the Scout troops after I started practicing law. The man who was head of it over in the Greenwood area, he retired and asked me if I would come in and take over. And I did, and I looked after the Boy Scout whole group there for about 8 years. So I still know the Boy Scouts and keep them. And they're a wonderful segment of the property. Don't ever forget that. And you look at this town, it's growing. I read somewhere that this town is one of the fastest and highest growing towns in Mississippi over the past 5 years. That's something to be proud of. But not only that, look at the character of these people that you're bringing in here. People that want to work, they want to produce, and they want to leave something out there for the others to come along. It reminded me when my mama, when I was a little boy, I was the only boy in the family. But she used to sit down with me and chat with me at night, and just as a little boy, and she'd say poems to me. And I would remember, I still remember a lot of them, but I remember one that I think is apropos up here. It says, I'd rather be a could be if I can't be an are. For a could be is a may be with a chance of making stuff. And I'd rather be a has been than a might have been by far. For has been has never been, but a has been was once an are. And I think that applies to this good day. My best wishes to the Boy Scouts. I know they're benefit for what has happened. And I thank you for our opportunity.
Thank you. Thank you for coming.
Yes, sir. All right.
Gordon, have you shown him?
Yeah, he's saying
That's
over there.
all right.
I can show him the project. You want some help putting this back up?
All right, we just put it together.